Have you ever been surrounded by people? Friends talking, laughter everywhere, conversations happening around you, and somehow you still felt completely alone? Not physically alone, emotionally. Like you were there, but not really connected to anyone around you. You respond when people talk, you smile, you laugh, you act normal. But deep down, it feels like nobody truly knows you. And maybe the strangest part is, the more people you're around, the more disconnected you start feeling. If you've ever felt that, stay here for a while. Because this isn't just being lonely, and it's not something wrong with you. Here, we're not going to give fake motivational advice. We're going to understand why this feeling exists. And if you really listen, you might realize you were never craving attention. The loneliness nobody talks about. When people hear the word lonely, they imagine someone physically alone, sitting in silence, no friends, no conversations, no one around. But honestly, that's not the worst kind of loneliness. The worst kind is feeling emotionally alone around people. Being in a room full of conversations and still feeling disconnected from every single one. Because sometimes people are talking to you, but nobody is really talking with you. Nobody notices what's happening underneath your smile. Nobody asks questions deep enough. Nobody sees the version of you that exists behind your personality. So slowly, you start feeling invisible. Not because people hate you, but because nobody truly understands you. Why you started hiding yourself? The truth is, most people don't become emotionally distant overnight. It happens slowly. Maybe you tried opening up once and felt misunderstood. Maybe people ignored your feelings. Maybe they judged you. Maybe they turned your vulnerability into something casual. So your mind learned something important. Being emotionally honest doesn't feel safe. And after that, you started hiding parts of yourself automatically. Not consciously, just naturally. You learned how to keep conversations surface level, how to smile without explaining your feelings, how to say, "I'm fine," even when your mind feels heavy. And eventually, you got so good at hiding yourself that people stopped noticing anything was wrong. But internally, you started feeling more disconnected every day. The exhaustion of constantly performing, pretending all the time, pretending you're okay, pretending you're interested. And after a while, you stop feeling like a person and start feeling like a performance. Different versions of yourself for different people. One personality at school, another online, another around family. And somewhere between all those versions, you lose touch with the real you. That's why social situations can feel draining sometimes. Not because you hate people, but because constantly performing is emotionally exhausting. Especially when nobody sees how much effort it takes. Social media made this worse. And honestly, modern life made this feeling even deeper. We talk more than ever, message more than ever, see more people than ever. But real connection, that became rare. Because now, most interactions are fast, short attention spans, surface-level conversations, highlight reels. People know your posts, your jokes, your photos, but they don't really know your mind. And slowly, you start confusing attention with connection. You can have notifications all day and still feel emotionally alone at night. Because being seen is not the same as being understood. The real thing you're missing, the truth is, you don't actually need hundreds of people around you. Most humans only deeply connect with a few people in life. What you're really craving is emotional safety. Someone you don't have to perform around. Someone who makes you feel understood without forcing yourself constantly. Because real connection happens when you stop acting and start being honest. Not perfect, not impressive, just real. And honestly, that's terrifying sometimes because vulnerability feels risky. But hiding yourself forever feels even lonelier. Reconnecting with yourself first. But here's something important most people never realize. If you feel disconnected from everyone, there's a chance you've also become disconnected from yourself. Because when you constantly ignore your emotions, hide your thoughts, and suppress what you truly feel, you slowly stop understanding yourself too. And that's why reconnecting with people starts by reconnecting with yourself first. Being honest about how you feel, allowing yourself to slow down, understanding your own mind again. Because once you stop abandoning yourself, you stop feeling invisible to yourself too. And that changes the way you connect with others completely. Because some thoughts were never meant to stay buried forever. Because understanding your mind changes the way you live your life. For the minds that stay quiet but never truly rest, this is Unsaid Minds, where silence finally speaks.